Let's see today's problem, which is longest common prefix. So what the problem states that we have to write a function which can find the longest common prefix string amongst the array of strings given. So we will be given a number of strings and we have to find a common prefix in them. So what is prefix? Prefix is actually a kind of sub array from among all the arrays of string which contains same characters, you can say. So for this example we can see like we have flower, flow and flight, and fl is the common string between all these three. And for this example we can see dogs, race, car, and we don't have any common example in between them. So what we can do is suggest we have to find the common prefix among them. So let's start with some brute force approach. So what can be a brute force approach in this? A brute force approach can be this, like suppose we can take this element and we can check what is the prefix in this. So for this particular element, what will be the prefix? The prefix will be the whole array, whole string itself, because we didn't find any previous string before this, so we can store this as an answer for now. Because when we will check, we will go to this, we will have a prefix as answer before, so we can check through it. So now let's see in the code like what we will be doing in this. So first of all, what we can do is we can take a string answer, and what we can do is initialize the first element to it, because we don't know what will be the longest common prefix. Suppose all the elements are same in this, then the longest common prefix will be this only. And suppose this is flower, now next element is flowers, then flowering, then anything else. So this will be the biggest longest common prefix in this. So we are assuming that the first element will be the longest prefix for this. So now what we can do, we will iterate from the next element, and where we will iterate where the size less than the full array size, and we'll check for it. Now we'll take another kind of pointer in this, which is j. So what this j will do, it will iterate through the other elements and it will check for us like this is equal to the prefix longest common prefix sum or not, which is our answer in this case. So it will check against this. So how we can do that is like we created a variable j. Now we will take n. What does n contain? It will contain minimum of answer dot length, I'll tell you why, and strs whatever the element we have got dot length. Why we have taken this minimum of element? Because you can see here in the example we have first element which is quite large, then we have this is a small. So the maximum longest subarray can be of this size only. It cannot exceed this size, even though we have flight which is longer than this, flower which is longer than this, flow, but we have to find longest common prefix among all these array elements. So this will be the maximum size this can contain. So the minimum size is like this. We'll find the minimum. What is the minimum of the all common length? So for this we'll find this. Now we'll check for each element what we can do. Like for while we have j less than n, like just we will compare two strings itself. We'll check if answer j equals to what we have, strs I comma j. So I comma j here says that like if we have an element of string because we are iterating, so take an element from this vector array, and for that element go to this index, jth index, for answer also, for this also. Now we'll check if this our indexes are equal or not. So if these index are equal, then we'll simply iterate. Means this is till now is like a we can say they are equal right now, so we will just j plus plus, and if they are not, we'll simply break through it. Because if they are not, we can say like we do not need to continue this loop, because we know ki other elements will not be equal to it. Like for this f, l, o, w till w, the elements will match, but when we go to the flight, we will iterate to f, l, and then an I will know that it cannot have longest common prefix as we have in previous array, so we'll break through it. When we'll break through it, we have to make sure that we update our answer. Answer will be equals to answer dot sub str 0 comma j. So now you'll say like why answer dot substar 0 comma j. So what we are saying, like we have given already it as an answer, like this will be our answer. So we know next element like maybe of size small or maybe not match the element. So for the answer we have given the full string. Now we'll substring to the jth element, because till jth element these strings are common, but after jth element these strings are not matching. So that's why till now we have done this. Now basically in last also we'll keep a check. If answer 0 equal strs 0th element of 0. So here what we are checking कि जो final हमारा answer है, the final answer we have, so in that if the string first element like this, suppose we iterated through whole the array and we got the answer now, so we'll check the first element is equal to the first element we encountered here or not, because maybe we can find elements like this. So in every iteration what it will do, like it will find a dog, then race car and update, and the final answer can update it to car, but we don't want that. So for that reason we are just maintaining a check here, and we'll return empty string if all these cases doesn't pass. We'll check this. We're getting an error here, strs. There can be typos, so look for that. So all these test cases passes and we'll submit the code. So this is accepted. But now you can see what we are doing in this case. We are like iterating to the whole array, which is n, and then we are iterating into the each element, which is, we can say, m, a size of m. So this, the time complexity here will be come out to n into m, because we are iterating to the whole array then to the elements array. So what can be, like, we can say, an optimal approach. So we'll keep this string answer. So what if we can sort this array? So if we will sort this array, what will happen? The smallest element will come first, then the next biggest, then the next biggest. So now we know when we sort the element, so we got the smallest element at first. Like suppose flow will be here at first, so we know that maximum size of the longest common prefix can be this only, and it can be a, like, we can say, if we sort this array, so it will be sorted like alphabetically. If you know like how elements are stored in dictionary, so it will be stored like this. So fl elements will come together like this. When we get o and o here, this will be like will be together. When we get I, this will be stored different way, like fli, I comes before o, then so in the when we sort the array, we will get flight first, then flow, then flower. So we will be able to compare these elements with themselves, like if the array itself is present or not. Like for the first element and for the last element, we can compare each other, and we can find out, like for first element, last element, what will be the maximum size of longest common prefix we can find, because we have to find for each element. So after sorting for the first and last element, if we check all the elements between them, will be eventually will be have that array only. So what we can do, we can sort this. This is basic sorting function. So now after sorting, what we have to do, we can store the first string, which is the 0th element. Then what we can do is store the last string, strs, what will be strs dot size, and we can get the -1th index. So we got the first and last index. Now just we have to check for each of them if we get common elements. First dot length. So for here we are doing first dot length, because you can see if when we sort the array, the smallest element or the basic element, like alphabetically also, will be the first element only after sorting. So the comparison will be genuine when we start from first element only. That's why we have taken the length of this. If now we will check if first of I is not equals to last of I. Suppose we have first element and last element like this, then flight will come here, and like flow and then flower. So we'll check if first element is equals to last elements like index or not. So if they are not equal, we can, what we can do, we can simply break out of the loop, because we know okay, now we cannot find common elements between these two, so we will just break. But if we are finding, then we will simply add that element first of I. So the answer will be continue to save here in this variable as we find the common elements between them. If we not, then we'll break simply. And since our answer is already set to null, so even if we don't find any value, like no common elements, we'll simply return our answer. So if we don't find any element common, it will simply return null. If we find it, then it will return the answer. We'll check for this. So it's accepting. We'll go ahead and submit this. So basically in this approach, we are taking log n time for this, like sorting this array, and n time for iterating this. So total time complexity will be n log n, which is better than n n into m, which we are getting previously. That was a brute force approach. But for if you like really want to try this, go for a brute force approach first. Whatever you can try, like try to solve it so you can get the gist of the question, then try to solve with this method. Thank you so much. Please do subscribe the channel.